Hello. Hello. Vishal, hello everyone. Hello Rega. How you doing? Just looking at some amazing UI stuff here. GUI stuff. Hello Cronion, how are you doing? We're just going to continue with the theme we had yesterday. Sorry, in the morning. Are you waiting for your render? Nice. Hello. Just looking at some amazing renders here. And hello, Crash Talks. Just going through some of these and seeing what we could do. And let me just have this on the side. Hello, Mikhail Monten. How are you? So there are quite some amazing pieces here. And I think we can jump right in as more people come into the live stream. I'll also start my YouTube channel like you. Sure, no problem, man. Hello, Sarutsu. How are you? Maybe let's start off by just seeing you. So for anyone who wasn't here in the morning or maybe in the evening for you, this is what we did. Let me just play for you. Yeah, we designed this in Blender. Today we're just going to continue with the same theme. And how about the motion graph earlier? Yeah, so this is what we rendered. Riga, sorry. This is it. I'm not sure if it comes out in the resolution, YouTube's compression, but yeah, today we're going to be a little bit more advanced and see how we can do something more interesting, more lifelike. Krazatox, do you have a question? Because I don't think I saw the question. Hey, I only have one question. And what is the question? How about the mob? Yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, let's create a new project and see what we can do. I like how this looks here. Let me just save this image somewhere. I think we can use it as a starting point. Okay, so it seems to be. Let me get it. I want this image here. That it doesn't seem like it wants to be got. Let me see if I can find it in the backgrounds. Keep bombing VFX. Can I make full-time living with YouTube earnings? Well, a lot of people have, so maybe you can as well. But I guess it depends on what you do. Are you freelancing besides your YouTube channel? Yeah, the YouTube channel and other things related to Blender that I do are taking up a lot of time that I don't have any more time for freelancing. So I want to start with a kind of a I want to start with a circuit board like this, but I'm trying to save this image. And yeah, so it's this here. I want to use it as a starting point for our sci-fi scene. Yeah, so let's create a circuit board like this. That will be our starting point. Just going to start with a plane. Can be as wide as that. Let's go into this view. So what time is it for you guys out there? I turn on my shortcuts. That's hash. Are you freelance? What is hash, Mikhail? I think you might make over 3K to 5K from AdSense. Well, I guess it depends what you're doing, but 5K in AdSense, you really need a large audience. So let's see. Set up my scene. Give it. Just going to. I can use my textures folder. Texture folders to just load in a simple texture. Let me get walls. I think I can start with this. Create PBR. That this doesn't really have to have, doesn't need a color. Just going to use it. 10 p.m. in India. Nice. 6:30 p.m. in Sweden. Today is 19th September. What? No, it is 17 here. Unless you're living in a different planet. I don't think it is possible for you to be living in a 19th. It can't be 19th where you are. You would have to be days ahead of everyone. Yeah, so using my textures folders, material, I've quickly set up our base color of the base of our material. So let's start creating some circuit boards. And I think what I can do to make things much faster, just going to split this window like this, so that I can see the outliner. And I create a new collection. And if I add a plane like this, I'll just give it a new collection. All these parts. I can maybe bevel this. Just kidding, it's 2 hours till 19th. You would have to be you'd have to be at least a day ahead of everyone. Let's see. Let's add in. Again, I want to use a hair system for this, to distribute these parts, and we are going to use, under render settings, we can use a collection, and that is going to be our parts collection. And for the rotation, we can just use, let's see, none, or object Z, let's see, object Y, objects Y, and let's go to this plane and make sure that it's on the surface like that. Hi, Top Channel 1-on-1. You okay, buddy? Here's some good cultural cauldron. I'm good. How are you? In Indonesia, it is 23:30 p.m. Wow, it's very late there. Very, very late. Yes. Make sure that let's go to the hair system. Make sure this is using the same. Let's go to the render. Uses the same scale. Hello, Abdallah. Don't make YouTube as your full-time job because YouTube income is not stable. Yeah, very true, very true. YouTube income is not very, very stable. Let's see. So I'll call this sci-fi. Let me try to speed up this because sci-fi scene. And we can create these, I don't know how they are called, but I'm going to go to this parts collection and create, I think it's called an ice over, I think it's called an ice, but let's see. So it just takes, let me just use my folders material. I don't create a new material here. I can just use box mapping or object mapping. Box like that. And it doesn't have to have a color, but I want it to be metallic. I think can also add a math node around here to make so that it's not too rough. And I'm going to give this a bevel modifier, auto smooth, hiding normals. And I think I can duplicate, I can add a loop here, then I think they usually look something like that. This middle part is going to be a different material. Something like that. We can also have a copy of these. Just have to make sure that the lighting is the lighting that is going to make this look better. So let's let me first get this. I think we have a lot of particles, so let's go in. Let's use around 100, and then we can play with the scale randomness. I'm also going to duplicate this light. Is it a program you used? The first 3D modeling program? No, I used a free program. I don't even remember the name of the program. It wasn't Wings, but there used to be a program, a 3D program I started with, but I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name. Think we need to turn on ambient occlusion, turn on screen space reflections, and I can even duplicate this, grab this, and just join these two like this. So we have some, maybe scale this a bit. When can we expect the HR Giga stream? The HR Giga stream? Oh, yeah, Ashay, I'm still examining that model to see how the best way to approach it. That's why you see I haven't started working on it. But when I finally figure out a better way to work on it, I will be making the model. Because it's a bit, it looks it's more complicated than it looks. That's why you see I'm taking some time to look at it. I can also use my, hey, hi, new to the stream. Thank you. Hey, hello and welcome, Venkatesh, for coming to the stream. So I'm going to use my Deco Designer add-on to just design these, to add these text without going to Photoshop. So I'll just go here to my Deco Designer and find some text. I'll get these. Duplicate these 32 bit. I don't know what else can we add there. Just change the font. Maybe give it a different material. I can just select this, go to save image, render, and just reposition this. I want to have transparency with this. Now I can save this as an image somewhere. I'll just call this deco. Now I don't need this anymore. I can import this as a texture. Let me get back here. Let me first make this a separate. I can come to this and just make this a different material, and we have designed our texture, so I can just bring that in and just unwrap this using projection from view. And maybe use the UV editor here. UV editor, reposition everything. I'm just going to blend. Mix this. And we have that done. Now we don't need to have many of these. As you can see, we only have 2 for this. So this can be moved out of the collection, the particle collection, so that we can place it ourselves. The bold editor. Oh yes, thank you. Thank God I found an amazing thing. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we just want to have a few of these scattered around, and then we can also create some wires. Let me just bring back my reference image here. You can also create some connector wires, and those can easily be we can just use curves. So I'm just going to create a curve, make sure this is a vector, and give it some thickness. So geometry thickness like that. Now you can already see them there. So I can give this a gold material, so metal, very little roughness, and then a goldish material like that. And I can start carving this, and I can make this rounded, this corner a bit rounded. And I come in here, make a few copies of this, and you can already see those wires in. Yes. Yeah, if we switch to cycles, that's what we have. Let's go back to Eevee and add in more light. I think we can also make these wires a little bit more detailed. Okay, then I'll just making some interesting details. That we can even just reuse them by just duplicating them and then rotating them, maybe. Okay. You see how they look here? The issue is we don't have enough reflecting surfaces for them to reflect on. So I'm just going to bring in an environment map. Go in my HDRIs, skies, resources, skies, yeah, HDRIs. Maybe just get this, just do something like that. Bro, you are the best teacher I have in the world. Thank you, Alexandra Rosario. Thank you. So do you get money from this business? Just curious to know. Well, it's a very expensive business. So if I wasn't making money, I wouldn't be making it, just out of being limited by the cost of live streaming, and because you need a very good PC for this, and you're also spending time that you could have been making money to pay your bills doing this. So if you're not making money out of it, then it would be very hard to continue doing it for a while, unless you are really super rich and you don't have to worry about money. Just also mirror this on the, okay, I don't know. Now you can see with just a few tricks, we are getting some nice wires, and I think we can even make some of them look thicker. So I'm just going to use Alt S, change some of the thickness of these wires to be a little bit bigger, like that. And at the end of them, I can even add a circle just to make things look more sci-fi and complete. We can add circles at the end like that, and whoa, I'm late again. Anyway, how are you? I'm good, Kazaik 3D, and I don't think you're late. We've just started streaming a little back, maybe like 20 minutes back. How do you set up your Blender viewport? Like what specifically do you want me to tell? Because I think this is, I just split the viewers and just use a look dev here. And let's see if those wires are coming. Yeah, you can see how they look in here. I think they add some nice visual interest to the scene, and I think can even make more. Yes. Now, some of these we can also create some of these be emissive lights. So I'm just going to grab this, call this light, and just switch it out for an emission shader. And I think just going to turn on bloom. Hi Ismail, the result is looking great. Is looking good. Thank you, Burning Bright. Thank you. Glad to see you here. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Best regards from Spain. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. Hello, Rizo AR. How are you doing? Hello, Kama 333. Glad to see you back. Okay, so let me see if I have lighting on this. We need to have things for this to reflect, so I'm just going to create an area light, reflective surface here. Shouldn't be in the parts collection, should be outside the parts collection. Let me see. And I think and with this we can even have an array to make this even wider or longer, or I can just duplicate this using Shift D to make a bunch, to make the circuit board even larger or longer like this. So because I want to have the animation be from somewhere here to kind of seem like it's looping, so I'm going to start the animation from there and have it go all the way, and I don't want to see the edges there, so I'll just duplicate this like that. That looks complicated stuff. It's actually not that complicated. We just using the hair system to duplicate the circuit around. I think this angle would be the best angle. It just gives us something like that. Maybe let me change the focal length to something wide. Just delete all these keyframes. Okay, just have to now duplicate these pieces to where we have gaps. And, also we can have another one here. And just going to amplify the ambient occlusion a bit. And I think we can use, let me just make sure this is outside the parts collection. I think we can use a volume object here. Shader volume, principal volume. Just to make things look more interesting. Just also switch this out to view as a wireframe. Yeah. Okay. I think this has to be something like 0.0. It's 2.05. And we can give our camera some depth of field. Think it will make things more interesting. So let's measure the distance here. Actually, let's measure. So you're looking at around So our scene also seems to be a little bit too large, but I think right now we don't really have a choice. Maybe we can try scaling things down. Yeah, let's try scaling things down and see, because I don't like my scenes to be too big. But I know it, because we have a particle system, that can also have some issues. It's going to create some issues because things are going to be more compacted. But we can come into the particle system and just reduce the particles. And can bring in these custom particles, these ones here, these. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Mitez Vasoya. Sorry for butchering your name, but yeah, if you guys are new here and you want to subscribe, I will see your name on screen. That's how you do it. And you could also leave a like if you like the stream. It really helps out the channel. So I think the scene is now really going too fast, so and I want to render at 60 frames per second because I want that smooth look. Let's bring back let me play with the contrast in the color management here. Let's go with medium contrast. Hello, Ryan Smith. YouTube recommended this, so I might as well check it out. Nice. Glad to see you are checking it out. Hope you like it and become part of the family. Okay. I'm going to go to the settings here and play with the volume settings a bit, turn on volume shadows and change the maximum distance, something like that. Let me see if I get rid of this. For now we can get rid of the volume and just increase or change the depth of field. Let's say 0.2, let's see 0.3. What render you use for final render? So the final render, most of the time I'm just using cycles. Yo, thank you Logesh Shankar for subscribing, really appreciate it. You read me out. This has only happened to me twice in my life. He's funny guy. Okay. Okay, so let's see what else. So what we want to do is do some complicated sci-fi things, and I wanted to start with a kind of a background thing for our background, and then on top of that we can build different elements. I was taking a look at some artists' work, like this guy here. He does really has some cool looking effects. Now thinking maybe we could integrate that into our own system. So for example, we can have a keyboard layout, and maybe let's try that. So I'm just going to save this image. Save image, not. I don't even have to save it. I can just have it on the side here. Yeah. So I can have a keyboard layout. Let's see. I can have. Let me first create a curve. Maybe I'll be able to explain it better after I do it. So rotate this 45 degrees. I want these corners to be rounded off like you see in that keyboard. So the best way would be to subdivide this a few times and just move my cursor or change the median point to active origin or active elements. Select this. So I can scale that, change this corner to aligned, rotate it. Yes, just want to make this corner rounded, and it can be tricky when you're working with curves, but I think with that we have ourselves a rounded corner. Or we can even just scale it down like that and just scale that corner. I think it's still, yeah, from there it looks okay. Amazing. God bless you, bro. Thank you, Kazaik, 3D. Going to do the same here. Scale that, bring that in. I can even scale this to 0, scale this to 0, and have this set to aligned. Rotate it and push it in so that we have a nice corner, circle, corner like that. So do the same thing here. Scale those in, scale by 0, scale by 0, and just, I think, let me try this and see. Cursor selected, selection to cursor, it doesn't work, but I just need to set this to aligned, and we have ourselves another corner. Add a plane around the corner, delete the faces, convert to edges and curves. You mean to do it this way using the bevel? To make it a curve like that. I think I could have done that, which is actually would have been much faster, but I just wanted to show off this technique. Yes. Was that what you meant? Delete only faces, convert to edges. Because that technique works in some areas, but sometimes you just need to have much control. So, and yeah, I think that's what we want, and then we can go to the give this a rounded look like this. And let me see if it's visible here. Let me just I think I can give it a new material. This one is going to be an emissive material. Give it a bluish color like this. I also want it to be outside the parts collection so that it's not instanced. Something like that. And I think we can give it, let me see, what is the option I want. I want it to be semi-transparent, transparent in some parts. So I'm going to blend these two like this, and I want to use the Fresnel or layer weight to blend the transparency. I'm not sure if this is going to be too visible, but I also need to make sure that the material supports transparency. And what I want to do, this to be unmated. So at around here, actually let me have the key start here. Bro, matching foot of a character on ground disturbs me in Blender. Is there an easy way to do that, or an add-on to make the foot like feel like it's actually stepping, not sliding? Yeah, I'm not sure. That's actually a very hard thing to do. It's not. If you're having difficulties, yeah, just know that it's not just you. It's a difficult thing to do. So I want to animate this key moving up. Actually, let me first isolate it for a second. I want to give it a slight animation, and I think you can start it down like this, then it pops up. Let me just bring out my keyframes here, and let's first just work with 20 frames. So this is what we have so far. Hello Elias, how are you doing? Let me first isolate the scale as well. So we want this to start off at 0. Just give this, have it pop out like that. Maybe even. Yo, thank you for subscribing. Greyman, good to see you. Glad to see you joining us. I think I can do this. Actually, let me just keep it smooth like that. Maybe just. And then for the Z location, which is something I also want to tweak a bit. I want to tweak the animation to pop to be much smoother. Maybe let's see if I do this. Feels like it's dropping. And then we can also animate the path itself, the start and end value. I'm not sure why this one isn't. Yeah, I want this to also be animated. So by the end there, it should be there, but it starts out at 0, like that. So we have and just keep it off. Blender just crashed, but let's see. Hopefully I was saving, yeah. Okay. Let's try this again. Let me first make sure that, yeah. So we have lost some progress because Blender crashed, but let's see. What is your opinions on creating a project in Cycles X Alpha and then at the end opening it in 2.93, checking if it for errors and then resave it? So I haven't really tested out Cycles X, so I'm not really sure how. Okay, this is getting annoying. Blender is crashing every time I try to adjust the curves here. Not sure why. Let me just go to the scale value and just, yeah, as I said, as I was saying, I haven't really given Cycles X a try, so go to temp files, resume production. What is there? Okay, so I think we can just have that as the animation. Maybe it's a bit too fast. Something like that. Let's try 50 frames. Great. I think I also like that snapping, how it snaps back. Maybe that's a bit too much. Yeah, something like that. Cycles X is very hard, very fast. You won't want to go back. Yeah, I've had, but I rarely use cycles anyways. I'm mostly using Eevee for my renders. But I've heard a lot of interesting things about it. So I want multiple keys. And I wish there was a way to offset the animation of other keys without having to rely on doing this. But what we're going to do is, let me just get this back. Here is my key, this here. I want it to be in a collection called keys, and because we want to create a keyboard structure, so I want to have a few of these. But maybe they could be okay. So we have to first remove the location keys so that it doesn't snap back. Look. Oh, breathe and try to not panic. Your CPU is being overloaded from your awesomeness. If something bad happens when you are on a roll, then step back, drink some water, and get back to it. You're right. You're right. Yeah, because I think I'm overloading this PC. It's not the most powerful rig, but yeah, I'm live streaming on it. I'm also doing some Blender stuff, which is quite heavy. Also screen recording. So yeah, it is a lot of. Anyway, so I want to offset these keyframes, and I think the best way to do that. Let me see if there is a modifier. If a modifier would help here. Don't think a modifier would, but let's try. There is no offset modifier. I wish there was actually a way to offset the keyframes without having to do this because we want to duplicate these a few times because we want to kind of animate. Let me just show you what I want. So we have this should start a little bit off, then this should start a little bit off, then yeah. So I want to have that kind of animation, but with a lot of these keys. I just recover autosave. I think I'm way past that, but yeah, I think I should have done that. I'm saving. I save a lot of times when I'm working. So I think we could probably use Python to offset the keyframes, but that's going to also be a lot of work figuring out the code that is required for that. Why do you use Eevee? Because let me show you why. If I was using cycles, that's how long it would take for me just to preview a single frame. And I don't think it would be possible for me to preview the animation. But it looks way cooler in cycles than in Eevee. But if I try to play animation, thank you for subscribing. Who am I? Yeah, so you can see it looks way cooler in cycles, but I can't preview the animation in cycles because if I try to play, the viewport just freezes. So that's why you see I have to work in. You know what? Let me get some water as recommended. Okay, got back. Having a million Chrome tabs also contributes to crashing. you can quickly free up RAM with one tab if you are interested. Yeah, probably should free up some of these, but I want to keep them there for reference. Hello Elemental Alpha, how are you? If it's getting a big upgrade to Vulkan at some point, maybe it is worth using EV Workflow. Yeah, I think it's worth using EV Workflow because it makes it, yeah, faster. Yeah, I lost my project yesterday, but I was able to remake it from Blender, from Blender crashing. That's unfortunate, but I'm glad you were able to recover it. I'm always using EV in my work because it saves more time, but for my personal projects, I prefer Cycles. Yeah, Cycles gives better results, but if you are in animation like we are right now, EV is going to be your best bet if you want to preview how your animations look. Oh, by the way, Geometry Node Editor allows you to affect scale and search of multiple objects easily. Yeah, I think that would work, but I'm not very good with geometry nodes. I haven't really tested it out. I'm not too versed with it. Let's see what other elements. Maybe we can add in letters here. Let me just get a letter. Just get a cool font, a sci-fi font. I think I'm just going to parent this to this. So we have something like that. Just parent this to this. Yes, this to this. Okay. I'll calm down. Let me see. I probably need to close some of these browsers, some of these tabs. I don't think we're going to need this. Let's get back here. I see. I don't think we're going to need this. You have RTX. I wish. This is my. It's a 1060 and the 3GB version. Hello, Brain Best. Cycles is amazing, but true. But the truth is that you will need to increase your value to compensate the time and hardware stroke render farm use. Yeah, Cycles is good, but again, you have those limitations. This has to be inside. It shouldn't be in the. Should be in the keys collection. I think I want this back. I don't want to see that background at the background, so I'm just going to just make sure that I'm not working in the parts collection. I can add this in the back. And I think I can. What I'm going to do is just let me grab a roll like this, scale it up, and just rotate it. EV is cool, and for motion, it's a lot more accessible for customers. Yes. It's much easier for previews and things like that. When I use cycles, my laptop starts screaming. I want to, but I can't. Same with me. So right now I'm using a desktop, but I also have a laptop that is not that powerful. So I had to switch to a desktop because it was much faster. And yeah. Our wish list. Yeah. A 3090 would be amazing. Bro, don't use cycles on a laptop. Laptops have less power. Yeah, I guess it depends on the laptop, because some actually have a lot of power. Let me increase my samples here, to something like 200. My viewport samples, and I think we are done with this part here. Maybe we can let me see, look for another effect. This one here we can do probably quite easily, and I wanted to combine these so that this is a background layer, but I'm not sure if my PC can handle having that many layers and then another one on top of it, but let's try. And I think we already have, if we go to, let me first get rid of this. If I go to my keys here, we have created these lines. I'm not sure if I can see them. Yeah, these here. Can duplicate it and move it out of the main collection. I think we can use them. We can repurpose these lines for something else. You're doing a great job, man. Thank you, Ruli Garindo. Thank you. No matter what you're using, cycles or EV, the important thing is the final result, how it looks, brother. Yeah, so that is very true. But if you're using cycles, there is a possibility that you may not even end up with a final result if your PC can handle it. Because if you can't render out your scenes, then yeah, that becomes an issue. Because if a single frame can take a day to render, then I've done renders where a single frame takes almost 5 hours to render, and I had 250 frames to render, so I just gave up using cycles for that. Let me see. Let's see if I can reduce the size of this. Let me give this a quick render in Eevee. That's how it would look. Let's see. You can see it took about less than a second to render, and in cycles, it's definitely going to look better, much better. But yeah, it can take a while to render. Have this SSDI add-on? I've seen it work, but I haven't really tried it myself. It's a cool add-on. I think I are testing it. I've never really tried it myself. Yeah, so my PC almost died because I was attempting to render with cycles. So let's not do that. We can end this project here because I think we have got it somewhere. And adding more things is just going to slow down everything. So let's work on a UI system like this. Yeah, it did. And I thought for a moment the I was going to get blue screen or something. That's one of the limitations of cycles. Or it's the cost of using cycles. What about if you use Unreal Engine for render? It takes less time than cycles, but I can do only very small scene. So with Unreal Engine, then you have to set up everything like you're creating a new project. So you can't just transfer a project from Blender to Unreal Engine. You have to set up the materials again. You have to do. My mic is losing up. I think that was a result of me trying to render with cycles. So that's why that happened. Let me first get this. Let me get this clip here. Just have it in the background. I'm not sure if that would be a good idea, but let's see. Let's see. I want to just get this animation. I want to see. It doesn't seem to be the same animation. And I thought that's what I copied or downloaded. Anyway, this is what we want to recreate now. And I think we can start right away. Just going to go in here. We can start by creating a grid. The grid is simple. Just start with a mesh like this. Make it very thin. Just duplicate it to make that cross. Not sure if this is going to come through within the YouTube compression, but let's see. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Rajik. Hi, Pulse Films. How are you doing? Let's give this a new material. I'll just use let's speed up this time. Let me turn on my screen keys. And this is going to be. We're going to use an array, and I want this to be rotated 90 degrees. So what we're doing is create. That should be a little bit off like that. I want to create a grid like similar to the one you're seeing in the video here. So we'll just use another array. And actually I want this to be the same at this angle. Let me turn on bloom. And I think I can also make this star a little bit wider. And the star can be a different, can take on a different material. Maybe this can be thinner. I think I can also use a transparency just to reduce on the opacity. Transparency of this. Hello Deepak, how are you doing? Glad to see you back. No shadow. Set this to alpha blend, so I can make it as thin as that. I'll call this. Anyone know advanced courses for Blender? So what exactly do you want to learn, Mifa? So we have our grid here, and I can extend it by extending this here. I'll just give it some slight animation. I want this the animation to be centered, so I'm just going to apparent it to an empty like this, and then animate that empty. Can even just move the empty while rotating it. So we have the grid animation like that. Another thing we can do is duplicate the grid again. And just so we have kind of a third dimension of the grid, I'm just going to multiply it, scale it twice. And just have it down, and maybe it doesn't need the animation. Maybe it's an we actually scale it. Actually, we can make it thinner. Yes. So when you're doing this, you're just most of the time just layering details onto details. Hello, could you please confirm that you are wearing pants? Yes, I am, Mark Smith. Yes, I am. Only not putting on a shirt. I'm kidding. I am putting on a shirt, but yeah. Do you know an artist named Clement Moore? No, I don't think I know that one. Maybe I've seen his work, but not really. Yeah. What kind of advanced? I don't know. He managed colors. Okay, so let's see what else can we add in here. Let me see. So we can create an. Let's start by creating this animation reveal, this text reveal. So I'll go to the center of this, and I think I can also go to the second material, this material, and also give it a shader, transparent shader, blend the two, so that we can also control the opacity of this. You could try adding a wave modifier and animating the grid with a wave modifier. I think that could work, but let's also add a background. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Zaki. just going to add a background here, make it dark, and if we add a light and maybe reduce the roughness of this, I don't know, something like this. Oh, this, where is my light? We can create some nice gradients, some nice gradient lighting. Do something like that. Okay, my render is done. Time to sleep. Don't forget to share it on the Discord server. It would be amazing. So let's add a text here. So text, and I want it to be animated in the same. So it's just going to, let me see how this is animated. So I want it to be revealed in the same fashion that this is revealed. So I can call this HUD animation or loading. Could be above everything here. I want it to be above the grid. I think these grid lines should be a bit should be give this a new material, or let's just use the ones that we already have. Make sure they don't have any shadow, they're not creating any shadows. This is going to be a reddish, or yeah, like this. And I want to make sure that it's above the grid, the entire grid. Just move the camera a little bit up. Were you able to check out HR Jinga at TJ Artist? Please say you did. I can't have my heart broken. HR Ginger, I think I did. Because I remember I did. I got a lot of recommendations to check out. Let me see. Yeah, I did. I saw his work. This guy here, and it's a lot of organic work, organic stuff, alien stuff. That I was looking into it and see if there is something I can do here. But yeah, there is one I saw. Wait, which one? I think I had. Yeah, HR Ginger. This guy here. Yeah, so you can see I had even saved the one I liked. I wanted to try out this here, but I don't know. It looked interesting, but kind of hard to do. So yeah, I'll try to see if I could get it. See, I don't know. I'll first try and figure out how to make it work. But anyway, so want the loading screen, the loading thing to be revealed. But I want to change the font first. Let me go to fonts. Maybe use a different font. So the way I want this to be animated, is I want this to be, let me get, so the issue with Blender is that there's a lot of limitations on what you can do with text, especially if you want to animate it. So you have to come up with really creative ways to make it work. So one I'm thinking is to have a gradient, a texture gradient, like a texture, a gradient texture that we can use as a mask to reveal or occlude or obscure some of the text. So if I use this as a factor here, you can see parts we can animate this value to show off or reveal certain parts of the text. By just doing that, we can have that. Which would also be fine, but I want to have more control, so I want it to start from the center, and then so I would want this to be somewhere like this and have another one I want a gradient that starts in the middle and then spreads out going both sides so that we can reveal the text from the center. So let's see, this is the gradient we're having. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Raul Heredia. Thank you. Now this can also be something like that. So we want this to start from the center. And now if I scale the gradient, it's not really giving me what I want. Let me see. If I move this on the other side, you can see I get this whoosh effect, but I want the gradient to just grow. And I think I know the effect we can use. I can change this to spherical and first get rid of this ramp. Just add a new car ramp here. And I can use object mapping so that the gradient starts at the pivot point. Now if I scale this up, you can see the gradient scaling up as well. But I just have to switch this around and change the position of this somewhere here. And now if I scale this up, let me first reset this and maybe go to text and change this to center. Now you can see what we are having. This is the type of animation I wanted. I want the reveal to start from the center and then spread out like that. I think that's the same kind of animation that you're great in color compositing. Is that so? Thank you. Yeah, I'm not very confident in the color choices I make sometimes. So it's interesting that you're saying that, but yeah, thank you. Like you see, yeah, his is also, the reveal is starting from the center and then spreading out like that, and that's what we want. So to animate that, we can start from a value like that, and then go up to there. So now we have, let me just make sure this is, so something like that. Just need to make sure this is a set. So we have that, and it starts at the lower center, but I can move it up like that. I shouldn't move it. And it's going way too fast. So I think I can have this set to I think I need this to be around the keys to start for around there. I think instead of animating the grid, so what we can do is just animate the camera to be moving. Just make sure that no other keyframes are working here. Just going to select these. Just going to grab this and just make it. I think I also need to move my camera something like that. We can animate that circle thing. So to do that, I think we can use a curve. Let me see, a curve. Would a curve work here? Let me see, let me try this. If this was, if we give this, if this was a 2D curve, filled both, could we animate the start and end? Doesn't seem so. If this was this shape, let's give it this material. Let's give it a bluish material like that. So I want to create this kind of pie chart animation that happens like that. And there are a few ways I think I can do this. Let me see if I can subdivide, I can divide this. Let me first change this to aligned and then divide it. Okay, I'm trying to look for creative ways to do this, but okay, this is not actually working out as I expected, because we can do, if we had this as a geometry like this, actually I think this would be the best way to do it. So if I have, if I give this a bevel, I can animate the start and end value, but I need to make sure that this is not a closed curve to be able to do that. So, but let me first make sure this is using the aligned setup. Subdivide this a few times and make sure that at least I don't have that part, so that is open, so that I can use the end and start animation like that. But this is rounded, which is not what I want, so I can change this to front only or back. Let's try half. No, this. Or you can use full and then just scale it on the X so that is flat like that. And basically that will give us the same effect as we're going for, which will be that rounded thing, round thing. So I just have to place this where I want it. I think it could be, it could surround the loading thing. Scale this up. I think because we have scaled this by 0, we're having some z depth. Okay, I don't think we're having it, but so this has to be, I want this to be animated, so I can start animating this. I have to start at 0 and at around here ends like so. So something like that. Let me just make sure that I land this correctly. Just move this keyframe. Now we just have to get the timing correct. Just get this cursor selected, selection to cursor. So, thank you for subscribing, Luis Prowica. So we have that. Now we just have to make sure that it fits. Maybe this comes after. And let's play the animation here. Okay, so it has that, it speeds up a little bit, and then, okay, so let's make it work like that as well. So I'm just going to cut this to end at 67 frames. So let's give it that same treatment. Let me rotate this. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Louise. Thank you. Pulse Films, looking great so far. Perhaps make the space a little bigger. The view space. Maybe, guess I just have to pull back the camera. Maybe change the focal length to something like 25. Maybe make sure I'm working in 60 frames to have a much smoother animation like that. I also don't like how this is loading in. I don't like the animation of the loading part, so what I'm going to do is, for now, just leave it like that. Because in the reference it's a lot bigger. You mean it's bigger in the on screen? Now we can start adding in more stuff. For example, I think I can let's do another thing here. This time we can reduce the curve depth. And maybe we can even delete a few extra segments. And this time we can have this rotated like this randomly. So I'm just going to add a rotation keyframe and just go into, I only need the rotation keyframe, the rotation Z keyframe, and I'm going to play with that. So I can duplicate that. And what we want to do is have, let me change this to vector, have this type of animation going on. So you can see I can even duplicate this further, and you can see we get that type of animation, which I think would give us kind of interesting look. So you can duplicate this again. If I start turn off the keyframes, scale this up, maybe give it a rotation offset at here. Can just even use, I can even choose to use a cycle modifier and make sure the motion is repeated with an offset. There, maybe just scale this on the X so it's a bit offset like that. You can even layer this up to make it seem three-dimensional like that. You can see how we're starting to build on top of what we had. Blender off 3ds Max better, so because I'm using Blender, I'll just choose Blender. Depth of field makes it look like the camera is right up against the screen in the hologram. So yeah, I guess we can use depth of field. So camera depth of field, I'm just going to select this as the focus point, and maybe just, I think I can select the loading screen to be the focal point. I'm curious, what does it look in cycles? Let's see. Why is this hanging? It doesn't seem to want to show in cycles. Okay, this. It's really slow for me in cycles. I'm not sure why, but I don't think there is that much of a difference. So I'm just going to stick with Eevee for now. Is it Eevee or cycles? It's definitely Eevee because my cycles is not that good. And I think I want to also have that ring there, and I also am going to make it red. So I'm just going to duplicate this, scale it in, and go to the curve and reduce the thickness, and I just go in here. Can we do a checker select? Yeah, you can do a checker select. Okay, we can't do a checker select for curves. So what I'm going to do, let me see, can't we? I want to go in and delete some of these segments one by one. Or what we can do is just delete half of these segments like that, and use a mirror for that side, and I also delete half of this, use a mirror on that side, And now I can just go in and just remove segments like that. Like that. And we can give this a new material. And we can even reduce this. To have something like that. Now let's give the camera some slight animation. And just for the fun of it, let's add, okay, let's try to speed this up and add more detail. Let me just do something like that, this, and add in some sci-fi detail. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know, I don't need this background anymore. What I'm going to do is start with a curve like this, and hit F, insert, push that down, grab this. I'm going to create a new material using my textures folder, my texture folders add-on. I'm just going to grab any folder with, let's get this material. I think it looked great. Just unwrap this. So we just created a rusted material, but I don't want the base color. I just want the roughness, and I want it to be metallic. So something like this, and I can also add a convert math node somewhere like that. Shade smooth, auto smooth, not render, auto smooth. I'll give it a bevel, apply scale, reduce the bevel just a bit, add in normals, so something like that. And what I want to do is use a mirror modifier. I'm just going to just get a small portion of this, delete the rest, use a mirror on the Y like that. I think I can also, let me use the 3D cursor, mirror this on the X like this, maybe just grab just a few segments like that. Now what I want to do is start detailing, kind of create a sci-fi platform. And I can even use a Solidify modifier here. Maybe only rims. Let me just mirror this on the x-axis. So you can see we are adding in some extra detail to this. Now what we can do, we can also give this some animation. So just going to add a keyframe. I'm only interested in the Z rotation, so I can just get rid of all the other keyframes. And for the Z rotation, I'm just going to duplicate this keyframe. Just see we get that. Just going to kind of make it something like this. Duplicate this. Okay, that's a bit not what I'm going for. Actually, let me just use the cycle modifier. We can have repeat motion with offset, so we have something like that. And I can add maybe a light around here. Let's add a sphere in the middle here, and that sphere is going to have a translucent material. With no shadows, alpha blend, no show back face. So I just want to make this light quite powerful. Nah, it doesn't really give me the look I want. Now we can add, I'm just going to use my asset library to add in some extra materials, extra stuff. Just going to grab this. It's a ceiling thing that I think it can work for this scene. Just going to have it as a surface in here. Maybe have some volumes, have this as a principal volume. Let me first look at all the lights we have in the scene and see what they're adding to our scene. So just grab all the lights, Shift G, type, and have them in a lights collection. Now this is what we have so far. If I turn this on, that's too much. This also seems too much. Okay, maybe that light looks a bit more interesting. Let me see this light here. I think I can reduce this. Also needs to have an emissive material. You can keep building on this, but I think I did something a few days ago. Let me see. This is just what we did in the morning, but there's something I did a few days ago that let me see if I go back here. Yeah, I think I spent a little bit more time on this, so it it might look much better than what we are working on here. And it uses the same systems that we have looked at. You can see nothing complicated, just simple mechanisms to, and you can see the way I'm animating these is very, very simple and very basic. This is just using an array modifier to kind of get that kind of animation. Yeah, I'm very, very interested in doing motion graphics with Blender, so you will see a lot of tutorials like this as I also get better at making motion graphics. And I think the other thing I would need to figure out is a better way to animate text, because right now Blender tools are very limited, and maybe I'll work out a simpler add-on or a simpler technique to get those animations to work, because I think this is doable, very, very easily doable in Blender, but there's still a few limitations. Let's see. These are some super cool renders. Let's look at this.